Hey everyone, it's Jeff Fisher of High School Football America in the NFL Play Football studio and on the other side of the box. Big smile because what a year it's been for St. Thomas Aquinas. They are the 2025 High School Football America National Champ, powered by NFL Play Football. 7 state titles in a row. That's just extending their record in Florida. And Roger Harriott is here to talk about a fantastic year, a fantastic program. Coach, congratulations on another year. It's been we're taping this on Thursday. It's coming out on Sunday, but you've had about a good week to think about that championship. Let's start there. What puts a smile on your face when your head hits the pillow thinking
Oh
about
boy.
25?
It's just a great reward. It really is from an effort standpoint, Jeff. The amount of time that you put into cultivating the spiritual personality and identity of the team, and most people don't realize that every team and season has just a different feel to it. There's a different personality. Although it's the same culture, you have the similar aspirations and so forth. It's just you got to figure out a way to help the players realize who they actually are, and that takes an entire off season. Starting with their spiritual connection. So what I find great gratification and tremendous validation in this particular season is our players really did a great job of establishing a spiritual personality that was focused on our standards of faith, family, tradition, excellence, and it built over a period of time throughout our senior leadership process that we do in the off season from February through uh, August, really, right up to August. The season starts. We do a monthly class with the seniors and help them realize the importance of certain character traits, and how those characteristics are applicable to football, but more so what it means to lead others and how that transcends into being a servant leader in their actual life. So I found great, value this year in watching this particular group really connect with the Lord and establishing a season theme called Champions for Christ.
Mhm.
So champions number 4 and Christ, and the 4 had obviously great value with regards to our standards of faith, family, tradition, excellence. 4 quarters of football, and just they were just played on the number 4, in different ways. But just to watch how the Lord utilized these young men that were receptive on a consistent basis was the real positive experience that I took away from this. And they were so devoted to the point where, Justice Fitzpatrick, for our first player to ever start a Bible study for the
Oh,
team. Yeah,
wow.
he started a Bible study, and after our Thursday walkthroughs, him and a group of other senior leaders and some, junior leaders as well, would take the team, and you would think it would be a 15-20 minute buzz session of whatever the Bible study was for that week, and they gave each other responsibilities, but it wasn't, Jeff. It was a 2-hour session of just talking about the Lord and the team and their life and what it means to them. And we talk about something called forces, and the forces means that it's a school of thought that great things happen for good people who are devoted to a greater good.
Mhm.
So they just took in all these different concepts, and really applied them to their life in a meaningful ontological type of way, where those specific character traits defined who we were this year, with regards to the team, camaraderie, and the different collaborations we were fortunate to have a part in. And I think the most prominent aspect of this season was God's presence. You know, it sounds superficial and cliche, but God really confirmed his presence to this particular team that has allowed our program to evolve beyond the football field and within our St. Thomas Aquinas community. So with our Champions for Christ theme, we have sub themes every week, Jeff. So every week under that particular theme, there like the first week would be victory. The second week maybe consistency or whatever. It was just different themes that we would fall under. And with that, prior to the week starting, I send something out, a schedule for the week. So everybody's on the same page. And at the end of each day, there's a Bible study from the Old Testament and the New Testament. And Jeff, I couldn't tell you how many times throughout the season, to the point where you could not chalk it up as just a coincidence.
Yeah, I know where you're going.
How many times the Lord would infuse the message or the theme with a spiritual message that we would end the week with, when we would have somebody come in and give a word at the end of the week, or I would give a message for whatever the Bible study is for that particular day. For that particular day, whatever the sermon or the message is, it more than 3/4 of the season aligned with what that particular sub theme was for that week, all the way up to the state championship. Now you are aware that this particular year it was our 7-peat, right?
Sure am.
I'm not superstitious. I'm really faith-based. I'm very routine, and sometimes routine can come off as superstition. We're not superstitious. We're very devoted to God. We don't have lucky socks and underwear, and we're devoted, but we're routine oriented. And so I don't really get into, we're chasing a national championship, or this is our 7th state championship as a source. Our motivation has to be doing the Lord's work. And so we don't get into the end result. I just don't do it. So I don't talk to the team. I didn't talk to the team. I never do talk to the team about, guys, this is our 3rd consecutive. This is our 7th consecutive. You got to be motivated to make sure you're one of the teams that's in line with the championship tradition, because that's what it's turning into.
Right.
Our championship culture and winning a state championship has not only become a blessed expectation, it's actually starting to become one of our actual traditions. And sometimes that can be taken for granted. So I have to really focus on the one play, one day at a time mentality, where you got to give a state championship or a spiritual championships type of effort for that particular moment of your life. And the more you consistently do that from a habitual standpoint, the probability of you winning a championship or becoming a championship in your life becomes greater. But consistency has to be your focal point. All right.
Amen.
So I'm talking about this to them throughout the whole year. And I'm not saying anything about number 7. People are like, hey, our theme should be 7 Stairway to Heaven, or like they come up with all these different. I'm like, nah, let's just focus on one thing at a time. If we're able to achieve the 7, we give the glory to God. We're great, right?
Yep.
That's what I'm thinking, Jeff. That's what I'm thinking. No. So we get to the state championship game. We're in Revelations at this point now. So I say, guys, it's not a coincidence that we started this Bible study at the beginning of the year. God takes us through the whole progression. So by the time you get to December, you're at the end of the Bible, which is Revelations. So now we're at the end of the season. So the theme is starting to build up. And I'm like, you know what? And it didn't happen all the time. But I say, guys, sometimes God doesn't need to confirm his presence. Sometimes you just need to build your faith. Like if he has to confirm that he's present all the time, then that kind of compromises the belief system. Sometimes we got to do the work too. We got to believe sometimes when he doesn't see, when things aren't necessarily going our way, but we have to believe that our prayers are being answered. Like we don't serve a God that neglects us. And so they start thinking from that standpoint, like, okay, we got to work for this thing. God's not just gonna, this isn't abracadabra. No, this is work. So the miracle and the blessing is that we have an opportunity and an obligation to God and to serve and to be glorify him, which we in turn receive the reward. So at the end of the season, all right, we get to the state championship game, and I don't read the Bible study to that until that day. So it isn't something that I'm like, okay, let me flirt through these verses.
Try to have it fit
And I've
together.
done
Yeah,
that.
you're not doing
And
that.
I've done that in the past, but I didn't do it this year. So I was faithful. And I'm like, let's see what God has in store this week. So the last game of the season, here we are thinking that, yeah, God, most people say, hey, man, just go out there and give a great effort. God cares less if you win or lose. That's wrong, too. God cares if you win. He does. He cares about, we're his children.
Yeah.
Jeff, you have children?
Yes, do.
Okay, so
and grandkids and grandkids.
And grandkids. So anything your children do, think, say, whatever it is, it's important to you.
Yeah.
Whether it's right or wrong, or whether you feel like it's important or not, it's your children or your grandchildren. It's important to you. Well, we're God's children. So I say, guys, as we work for things, God does care. He cares if we win or lose because he knows we care.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going through the process for that particular day, and we get to the Bible scripture for that day, which was Revelations 2. It was Revelations 2. So I'm like, let's see what God has in store. So I'm prepping, preparing for pregame meal. I talk in pregame meal. We have something called Keys to Victory. I talk it, but I really set the tone in pregame meal.
Okay.
So we get to pregame meal, and before pregame meal starts, I'm reading the verse, and I'm like, wow, what an amazing God we serve. So just real quick, let me just read this to you real quick. So
this wasn't planned, folks.
Yeah. So let me just read this to you guys, and just so you know what I'm talking about here. So seventh state championship. People are like, God care less or whatever. Just focus on, his plan, doing things one play at a time. And
mm-hmm.
That's the way you should do things. Revelations 2. To the church in Ephesus, to the angel of the church in Ephesus, write, these are the words of him who holds the 7 stars in his right hand and walks among the 7 golden lampstands. So I just look around the room. I'm like, guys, are we serious right now? 7 stars in his right hand and walks among the 7 golden, we have gold helmets.
Oh, yeah.
Lampstands. I said, guys, you have a better chance of getting struck by lightning multiple times before this particular message is sent on this particular day. I said, guys, go back early in the week. This was already sent to you in a chronological biblical order from January now. From January 2025, the order of these scriptures progresses throughout the year till you complete the Bible from January to December. I said, guys, I would have to be a real chronological ordered genius to get to that particular day. Jeff, we don't even know what day we're playing on until the week. Listen, honestly,
I know.
We don't know until the week before the state championship.
Yep.
The week before the state championship, or 2 weeks before the state championship, we don't know what day we're going to play on. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, or Saturday.
Right.
Have no idea how they're going to break it up. And they don't either, because they like to do it based on numbers and travel and what teams win, because at the end of it all is business and what is best for the attendance. How can they get the best bang for their buck? So you can't say it's that either. So on that particular day, this was our Bible verse that God sent to us. So to get back to your question, I know I went on it and I went in a ramble, but I had to share with you because you asked me what is the most amazing part of this season. Right. It is God's presence and and not only his presence, because God is present everywhere. It was his confirmation, Jeff. It was his confirmation that he was present. And the reason why that he was present, and I'm even learning this as I grow in my faith too, it's consistency.
Hmm.
If you are consistent in your faith, the most difficult thing to do in a secular world full of temptation, because God gives us grace. He allows us to ask for forgiveness. So a lot of us take advantage of that. Probably, and Jeff, truth be told, a lot of us probably abuse it. But what I've learned when it comes to reward and blessings that surpasses understanding, like the Lord said in Proverbs 3. All right. Surpass Proverbs 3, 5 through 6. What the surpasses understanding. Don't lean on your own understanding. When you're consistent in the word, in your actual life, with your family, which is the easy part. But when you get out into your personal life and into the world where you feel like you need to be accepted, and you're truly devoted to God, and you're not compromising at all, and you get to the point where you know what, God is present, we're not listening to the secular music anymore. Fellas, we're listening to gospel music in the weight room, before the game, and guess what? After the game, where most people celebrate, we all pray. God, guide us, direct us, help us, let us do your will. Allow us to be victorious, to glorify you. And when he allows us to do this, most people, Jeff, do what? They go celebrate with Satan. So God gives you what you want. And then once you get what you want, you may say, praise the Lord, thank God. But most people, what are they going to do? They feel like, you know what? It was a hard fought battle. What is it going to hurt to celebrate a little bit? Put on that secular music. Put on that inappropriate, provocative and perverse language. Pass me some marijuana. Give me some of that drink. Let's head over to this party. So God gives you what you want. And instead of celebrating with the Lord, the one who's made it possible for you, you go celebrate with his enemy. I'm like, it don't make sense, guys. Think about that. I said, instead of celebrating with the one that loves you, who's provided for you, you go celebrate with the one that hates the one that loves you the most.
Mm-hmm.
And yet, newsflash, he hates you too. He's just deceitful. He's manipulative. He wants to destroy you because the one that loves you the most, it can only hurt him. I say, guys, we need to celebrate with the Lord when we achieve great things. We got to build on this. I said, I'm not a pastor of a church. I'm your coach. I'm telling you that what we're doing takes precedence over football. And we're going to sit here and call ourselves champions for Christ. He's going to put us to the test. And we've elevated and we're passing the test. So Jeff, man, I can talk about this particular topic
Yeah,
for
I
a
can
long
feel it.
time
It's
because
real. It's real.
Jeff, it really happened.
Yeah,
It really happened. And I do feel for people who have great faith and they don't get these sort of confirmations. And I don't know why God chose us. I don't have that answer, but he did.
mm-hmm.
And we're grateful for it. We really are. It really goes well above and beyond, a state championship. It's about being a champion in this faith, and that God truly confirmed his presence in this life. And it's awesome, man. It is an awesome experience.
Well, that's why the saying is God works in mysterious ways, right? No doubt about that. Coach, it's just I could pick apart so many things and go and dive into it, but one of the things that I want to do, since that was such a really great answer, long answer, but a great answer. And I know how faith plays a role in your program. I've read about it. This is the first time you and I have ever talked about it. But I'm just curious because in a school where a lot of kids come in from different cultures, different backgrounds, and all that, that doesn't mean every kid that walks through the door is touting his faith and all that. What do you do if you have a young man that comes in and probably going, I don't know. Coach sounds like he knows what he's talking about. How do you handle a situation like that?
The same way Jesus handled his disciples. that didn't have a whole lot of faith. We love. We set the precedence of love. I mean, you can set the precedence of love for your enemy because the Lord tells us to love our enemy. Didn't necessarily say like your enemy because we're human.
Mm-hmm.
But to love someone, it doesn't take much because truth be told, Jeff, love is really just setting the right example, man. You know, when Peter asked the Lord, hey, what if someone comes across and just slaps you in the face? What are you going to say? I'm going to turn the other cheek. And Peter was like, oh, come on. But it took time for him to realize he means set the right example.
Mm-hmm.
So as we set the precedence through our Catholic faith, Archdiocese of Miami and St. Thomas Aquinas, and we get, these spirits and personalities that come in that might be in doubt, which is normal. It's our job from a spiritual leadership standpoint to help them understand that God loves us all, regardless of what your background is. We're all his children. So those of us that know better and teach and coach and instruct, we're held to a higher standard. That standard for me is called the exaggerated role model. So if you're going to be on my staff, you have to be the exaggerated role model. That means you are required to exaggerate what it means to be a good person, make great decisions, not good, great decisions, and do the right thing. And as a result, most people are influenced by others. If you're in a leadership position, you have people that are looking towards you. They're following you. So as a leader, it's your job to follow what? The rules. It's your job to follow the rules so those that are following you can, do the same. So when we get individuals that come in, I love it, that come into the program and they're uncertain and like, man, I'm not bought into this. I don't know about this. Yeah, the football program is what I came here to do. All this other stuff. I don't know about these forces and this, this school and its spiritual or rituals and its faith. I'm just here to play football. You get that sometimes,
right?
But it doesn't take long, Jeff. Now, the acclimatization process here is not an easy one for somebody who is coming from an unstructured environment that is fixated on superficial, secular stereotypes or stigmas. So it's difficult for them. But as we love on them and we teach them God's love language and they understand that we speak a certain way, because I don't allow our coaches to curse at all. Mm-hmm. We don't curse. We don't confuse the spirit, and nothing against people who speak their own language. That's up to them. I'm not here to judge you. But here we're going to speak the Lord's language. We're not going to, talk, we're not going to scream obscenities. We don't belittle children. We empower them. That doesn't mean that we're not aggressive. It doesn't mean we're not intense. It means that, when you're holding someone accountable and you're providing discipline, there's a lot of love to be said there. There is such thing as tough love. So it doesn't mean that we're passive. We're very intentional about our purpose and who we serve. So when we get someone into the program that's having difficulty, we love it. It's a problem. And what does God do? He provides solutions to problems. Who are his solutions? Us. We're his solutions. Some people are reluctant or defiant about it, and other people are excited and motivated. One of our mantras on the football team, when we go through adversity, we get motivated. That's the solution. Find the end, figure it out together in an interdependent way. If people talk about independence and being dependent, we very rarely talk about interdependence. Jeff, as you and I have a relationship and we have a strong affinity for one another, your strengths, Jeff, should complement my weaknesses. My strengths should complement your weaknesses Individually, we can do some good things. Together, we can be great. So when we see people with issues, we look at the great value and how we can support and encourage one another. I know I'm getting animated, and it seems like it's a presentation, and it's not. Jeff, is real. There's a reason why we continue to win, and I would love to tell you it's because of me, because I'm human, and I'll take all the credit. Go, Coach Harriott, Coach of the Year. It is not me. The GOAT is God. The real Coach of the Year is the Lord. I have to tell you the truth. It isn't me.
Mm-hmm.
It's the process that and the opportunity that we go through. Most people trust the process, but Jeff, do they enjoy the process? Are you enjoying the process? Yeah, I trust the process. I trust the Lord. But are you enjoying the Lord? So that's the difference. So when these kids come in here and their parents come in here and they're a little reluctant, I expect them to be that. I know what they're getting in. They're getting into something that's Jeff. They're getting into something that's super uncomfortable. They're
Yeah, it
used
is.
to listening to inappropriate music. They're used to watching, pornography all over social media. They're not used to someone saying, "Hey, we don't do that here. If you're going to do that, there are going to be consequences." Parents included, Jeff. Parents included. Because I tell the parents when they come in here, I'm an extension of you to your kid. So
Right.
I'm gonna do a lot more parenting than coaching. So if you're just here for football, it's probably not the right place for you because our faith and our family is going to take precedence over football. Now, football is important, but it's just a platform. Team is something that your child does. It's not who he is. Family is who he is. So we set that precedence right away. Obviously, having the reputation and culture we have here of winning helps because people admire winners. They look at certain humans as icons. So we have to use that platform to our advantage to advance the gospel, Jeff, to glorify God. And that's what this whole mission for the Archdiocese of Miami, St. Thomas Aquinas, and all the other faith-based organizations are about, in my opinion. Maybe they're not, but I optimistically hope that's the case. I'm adamant about getting this message out because the world needs to know we have their attention. We're perceived as one of the most prominent high school programs, and we don't boast ourselves. But the Lord's message needs to get out there, and people need to know why we're really winning. And we're not the most talented team. Like everyone's like, "Oh, St. Thomas is the most talented." We're not. We're not. Obviously, we have kids that we. This is in the low. The irony here is, Jeff, this has been the lowest number of Power Four kids that we've sent out in December since I've been here. All right. And the majority of our kids are FCS kids. Why are we at this level? And we're able to take the message and the mission, the ministry to London and do the same thing there and play against a very strong London team. Obviously, they compete against us. They compete against IMG. You know, I couldn't give you the answer to why, but I do know this: the word needs to get out there. People need to know that God is present and He's real. I know we're living in a world full of frustration and it's convoluted, but there is hope out there, and I want the world to know that, Jeff.
No, and the reason I wanted to continue this, and I've never said this on the record, and I am literally saying it on the record, and it will be a part of this interview, but when you compare high school football America to the others out there, the great people that are doing the great work in the football space, whether it's Max Preps or USA Today, we do not have the same sort of financing funding, if you will. It's my wife and I. We don't have as many staff. The reason we're able to do it is no one will ever outwork me. And the reason no one will ever outwork me is because God gives me the strength to do the work of many, many people. And I'm not bragging by saying that. So that's one of the reasons I wanted to, take the time here to kind of go into this and explore it a little bit more because
No,
it's very, very interesting to me. And again, there are times when I'm like, well, how was I able to work 20 hours today? Like I'm 65 years
why?
old. How did that happen? Well, I just A, I did it, consistency, and B, I was given the strength from something, right? So
Yeah,
it's
and you're at you guys are in a very similar situation that we're in at St. Thomas. Even though you're amongst the conversation of those that are perceived as the most prominent, Max Preps and USA Today, even ESPN, they all do a great job. They all have their own algorithm and whatnot. You're different. You remind me of the scriptures in the Bible where Jesus said they hated me first. So don't so be of a good cheer. They're gonna hate you too. But you're on the right side of this thing, and the way you guys handle your business, it goes beyond the football field. It goes beyond stars. It goes beyond offers. Like you're looking at the holistic aspect of the program. What do they stand for? What are their, what is the history of the program? What have they accomplished? What do they actually stand for? What is the character of the actual team? There's so much more that goes into it from that standpoint, where most of the world looks at the superficial aspects, and make a determination. You're taking a deep dive and a major risk and saying, hey, this is my findings, whether you agree with it or not, and you're being ridiculed and criticized for it. Well, Jesus was too. He was ridiculed, criticized, and then crucified. You know what I mean? So,
well, hopefully I
you
don't
know,
get crucified for this
me
ranking,
too.
but
Yeah, I want it. I love my family. I'm sure you love your family too. I want to be here. I'm not here to offend anybody.
yeah,
Jesus already did the work. But with the point I'm making is that the world has its way of doing certain things. You see it in the recruiting process, Jeff. Like the matrix that coaches use to determine who the best players are, the measurables, and he has to be 6'2", and he has to run this fast. So, coach, you're getting fired for a reason, man. Like you in that matrix, where is the heart of the man? Where is the work ethic?
yeah,
Where is the love of his teammates, his program, the enjoyment of the game? And you're wondering why you're getting fired. Unfortunately, one, they don't give people enough time to establish a culture. So
right.
that's out the door. Um, you know, they the other aspect of it is they don't put a whole lot of emphasis on that particular value of it. And then Jeff, is a win-win for them. Like you and I sit here treasured and valued in our faith, in our family, and that's priceless and would never exchange it for $1 million. But if we had $1 million, we probably wouldn't know what to do with it anyway. God would probably provoke us to give it to wherever it needs to go, and we wouldn't have our Lamborghini and our fancy house. We wouldn't have some of the financial issues we have now, but God seems to provide. But these other guys, Jeff, they're winning, and in their mind, they're winning. They get hired, they do what the masses call for them to do to, recruit these kids that have these measurables, and are good, talented players, but they don't pour into them. They treat them like they're already celebrities. So the kids they don't have a hunger. So at the end of the day, if the coach doesn't, if he's not successful, he gets a buyout. So he gets retirement money.
Oh yeah,
Hey, but their ego won't allow them to retire off of the $4 to $10 million that the organization's given to them to say goodbye. Their ego won't let them do that.
yeah,
They go elsewhere. So it's like a win-win for them. They're like, okay, I didn't win. Be based off of what is, permissible or what is socially acceptable. But you're not going to win until you go find the right individuals that can facilitate, that particular school's personality and identity,
yeah.
which is unfortunate, man. And there's so many kids out there, Jeff, that are 5'10", 5'8", 5'11", that are extraordinary players. You saw it in the draft last year. Obviously, some of these NFL teams are more interested in winning. So they went out and got a couple of kids, drafted a couple of kids that were 5'10", 5'11", that you wouldn't, that typically would be 6'2", 6'3". Well, that didn't get to the college aspect yet. But eventually, I hope that it'll get there and we start recruiting the actual best players. Because I really hate to see these families get uprooted. I can't imagine these wives and kids enjoy dad leaving one state to the next. I can't imagine.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no.
you got another job, you made a lateral move, or maybe you went somewhere for a little bit more money. A big part of family is consistency
Yeah.
and continuity, and that's getting lost in our society.
Yeah. And when you talk about those measurables, I've said this, and like I said, I'm an old guy at this point, but as much as and I'm not blasting the scouting, and it doesn't mean just football, baseball. You name the
Yeah.
sport where you're looking at, kids coming to the next level and all that, and you cannot measure two things, this and this, right?
You
And,
cannot.
and until somebody gets a tool that can do that,
You're not going to be it.
yeah, we're
You're
not
not
going to.
going to be able to do it.
Hey, another question. You were very successful before you got to St. Thomas Aquinas. You and I actually haven't spoken in 10 years. I met you going into your first year, and I'm curious how obviously you came in with your faith, with your culture, but how has STA changed you? Where do you think you've grown the most? Yeah, you've won a lot of championships, a lot of games and all that, but where has this school and this program changed you as a person?
I felt like I really feel like I don't know necessarily change, more so evolve, Jeff.
Okay.
I
Okay.
think I think I evolved more as in my faith that has enabled me to become a better husband and father, because of the time and devotion and commitment to it. St. Thomas Aquinas has enabled me to worship without apology.
Hmm.
We live in a world where, your faith has become a stigma in certain industries or with certain organizations. You're just not allowed to pray or profess your faith, or they feel like you're trying to convert or impose your will. So it's allowed me a certain level of spiritual freedom, Jeff.
Interesting. Very cool. Because we're associated with the NFL through play football, obviously one of the things the NFL does every year for many, many years now is, where do these kids play in high school? Where did it get all started? And you guys are always somewhere near the top of that list. What is it that St. Thomas Aquinas gives these young men that allows them to, obviously they have the physical talent, right? That's one. But what is it that allows them to get to the next level? And then a lot of players succeed. People, these are household names and all that. I'm just curious, what is it do you think that the school and this program give these young men?
Yeah, that started decades ago. That started with George Smith
Right.
and his crew of support staff, that went above and beyond his actual staff. There was a number of great individuals that he was blessed to attract and work with. But he also had, amazing supervisors in Father Vincent Kelly. During those times, he was Father Vincent Kelly was Coach. I'll talk to you. Sorry, Joe.
It's okay.
I'll call you later. Talk about. Okay. All right. Thanks for. Okay, so Father Vincent Kelly was a superintendent, but he also was leading St. Thomas at the time, and with the support and the personality of George Smith, it's allowed the reputation of the school to evolve. And Coach had the support from his administrators to do extraordinary things, and that enabled Coach to attract various people, right? Some amazing. I mean, first of all, Brian Piccolo went to St. Thomas before it was even St. Thomas, as you know.
Yes.
So the spirit and the championship culture was, already in place even back then. But then you get guys like, you know, Michael Irvin, Tony Sands, and I can name so many
It's a
others.
long list.
There's a really, really, really long list of alumni that has helped establish this championship and winning culture that we attract those type of individuals who are, you know, extraordinary football players. And then through this process and their devotion to our faith, they become extraordinary people. And as they go through our maturation process, and their faith is increased and their spirit has matured and evolved, naturally when they go to college, they're not going to lose that, that particular aspect of themselves. If anything, it evolves even more because they start sharing their faith and their character traits. And at the end of the day, people, as complicated as we may seem, we are pack creatures. We do need each other. Without love or caring or support, the human race would be doomed. We actually need that component to thrive.
Mhm.
People need people. And we're able to attract some great people that can go out and influence other people to obviously be great. And that's how this thing continues to evolve. It's really difficult not to give, um, you know, kudos or recognition, credit others that have done extraordinary things. Sometimes we go overboard and we start worshiping other people for their achievements. Like people become icons and they don't know how to handle it. That celebrity type of status, and then they fall apart. People wonder why they fall apart. You were worshiping them. So we do a really good job of keeping a healthy balance and understanding that God has made things possible for us to do extraordinary things. But then we go out and share it, and it attracts other people, and we are able to continue evolving as a St. Thomas Aquinas community, not just in football. Like we have, and it's not just athletics. Like we do extraordinary things in our faith and specifically in in academics.
Yeah.
We're a 3-time Blue Ribbon Award, organization. Like that's unheard of. That's the most prominent academic award in our country at the elementary through high school level. And they don't give too many of those out a
No, they
year.
don't.
So over the years, we've been awarded that 3 times. So we obviously have great leadership. Dr. Denise Aloma is doing an extraordinary job here now. She started off here as a teacher. Her children came through here, her grandchildren. She progressed into an administrator, and now she's the principal of the school. And it's because she understands the spiritual culture here, and she realizes from multiple different aspects how important it is to grow, and not in every aspect though, in faith and academics, athletics, and extracurricular activities, clubs. And she's just an amazing person. And so it's great to watch us continue to thrive.
It's been an amazing interview. I have one more question. Actually, I'm going to roll two into it. We've already addressed the reason you're here. Is you are our national champs. We are very proud to have you on this long, prominent list.
Thank
Uh,
you.
with our algorithm. And as a result, you are also the High School Football America National High School Coaches Association Coach of the Year. And Coach Smith was an honoree back in, I think it
Wow.
was the 2010 season. And we've had some other good Floridians on here. Roland Smith was our Coach of the Year. Um,
He's
uh,
doing he's doing a great job at UM.
yeah, Patrick Surtain, senior. Since the other one's still playing, he
He's
ain't
doing a
coaching.
great, he's doing a great job coaching too.
So,
So
so you join a nice
awesome.
list here, and
Thank you.
I'm just curious, and I know probably where the answer is going, but what does all this mean to you? You've kind of addressed it at the beginning, but we're going to close out with kind of getting a feel for what this means to you, to the kids, to the community, all of that good stuff.
I'm grateful to serve. I mean, this means everything to me beyond the world. Be really beyond my faith, for to have an opportunity to receive these type of accolades based on the effort and the work that we've done. It's with great gratitude because I'm not the type of person that really expects to receive a national coach of the year, or even the national champion. We don't see it that way just based off the way things transpire. But when it does happen, it's with great appreciation and gratitude. This validates the Lord's confirmation and our commitment to Him, and resisting the temptation to fall into secular interests. And it goes above and beyond, because it sets another precedence with regards to evolving and connecting with God and serving on that particular level, and sharing our faith and helping others understand that success isn't necessarily measured in winning games. It's how you conduct yourself and live your life, and the devotion, the consistency that you are committed to, with regards to doing the Lord's work, and receiving the reward at the end of it is amazing. It's like when people altar call, you accept, or you go through confirmation and you accept Christ as your Lord and Savior to do His work. And we all think, and initially you're like, all right, Lord, I'm yours. I'm accepting you as my Savior. I'm surrendering myself. Well, the reward really isn't for God. He is allowing us to accept Him for us to be rewarded in grace. So this experience is similar to that, where I'm grateful, truly grateful, Jeff. Like I told you at the beginning, to just be here and do the work. When I wake up in the morning, I'm motivated. I take a deep breath, and I feel like we're already winning. I'm alive. God got us going, and with the right spiritual mood and attitude, and um, but to be rewarded at the end with a national championship and a coach of the year, that for me is a direct reflection of the body of work our coaches and players put into it. I coaches, I parent kids. I'm thankful for the plan that God put in place, that He has allowed me to orchestrate, disseminating information, creating a therapeutic environment, and doing all these amazing things. But to be honest with you, the glory goes to God, and the reward really goes to the coaches and the players. So thank you, Jeff, for making that possible for all of us.
Well, Coach, I've really enjoyed this chat. I'm sure there's some people going, "Where were all the X's and O's and all that?" And I just knew coming into this that there was a bigger message here that you wanted to provide. And if High School Football America is one avenue that allows you to have a long format to do that in, that's my pleasure. That's again.
Hey, we can spend another hour if you want and talk about X's and O's and how we
Nah,
really
nah,
broke
nah.
this
You
thing
you
down in the other phases of the game. It's up to you.
No, no, no. That was absolutely perfect. I think we've
Uh,
done our job today. We've done the mission, which is, this country, needs football to be great, and giving young men and young ladies now with flag football the outlet to go out there and do something constructive and get some structure in their life and all that. So, for me, no, yes, X and O's next time, but we're just pleased to have you as our national champ, our coach of the year. We wish you nothing but continued success throughout the rest of your life.
Thank you, Jeff, and thank you to all your wife, obviously, and all the representatives, the people that make this thing work, that allow you to utilize your voice, your whole team at HSFA, and we're grateful for what you guys have done. And it couldn't have come at a better time of the year, where it's the actual season of giving. So Merry Christmas and Happy
Merry
holidays to
Christmas.
you, your family, and the whole high school football America team.
Thank you so much.